Before we start, do me a quick favor and leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment. Now, let's get moving.
What's up, guys? That got the pencil here, and we are back for another edition of Tier List Tuesdays, and here we are to rank the Kingdom Hearts Super Bosses. We got a hefty chunk to talk about, so let's honestly just go in order of the games, at least the best I can. Let's see what I can remember. But let's start off with, I think the most generic of super bosses, really, because it's barely even a super boss. It's a very simple fight. The Ice Titan in Kingdom Hearts 1. I do like it. I know a lot of people don't because you aren't really fighting it. You're just reflecting its projectiles, but I don't know. Really helped me with my guard timing. And if I ever want to challenge myself, I would remove guard and I would just swing at him rather than actually, fighting it in the traditional way that you're supposed to. So yeah, I think it's good. And you'll notice, like, look at the tiers. We got the peak, we got amazing, we got great, we got nice, and we got good. Like, I really don't think there's a bad super boss in Kingdom Hearts, which is a testament to their boss design. I think some of them are very, 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 very difficult, and some of them are very, 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 very unfair. But I think my standards change in terms of boss design whenever I get to super boss territory, because I feel like there's a mental disconnect I'm allowing myself to make whenever I get into a super boss. I'm just like, oh yeah, I expect to want to fling my controller out the window faster than the speed of light. So I'm fine with it. That's why I don't think there are really any bad super bosses. And moving on to the next super boss from Kingdom Hearts 1. Actually, you know what? I was gonna go in some kind of conceivable order. Forget it. I'm gonna go with another good one. I think I like, what is he even called? Jugo? Not Jugo. Julius. I don't know why Julius's name escaped me. Julius from 3D Dream Drop Distance. I think the only reason he's like my least favorite super boss is because I think he has the least interesting design. I think he has the least tie-in to anything. He's just chilling at the bottom of Traverse Town in Dream Drop Distance for no other reason than he can. And while that's fine enough, I don't know. He kind of just came out of nowhere, and I'm kind of sad that Dream Drop Distance didn't have like a super boss that was relevant to the narrative, I guess. But then again, I don't think 358 had one either. But Dream Drop Distance was such like really an important game for the franchise that I don't know. I kind of find it kind of sad that we don't get much secret boss wise. It's just sad. It's saddening to me. That's why he's at the bottom. It's not, and his fight is annoying to me a bit. But like since I'm unafraid, I don't care. I have no honor at all. I did use Balloon and absolutely just mollywop this thing. So I'm perfectly fine with how stupid difficulty is otherwise. Moving on to another boss that I would say is good. I'll put you here. See, this is, what's its name? Dark Vessel? Something like that. That's the thing. All these bosses that don't really pertain to characters, I don't think they're really that good. Mainly because they don't have much to them. Like, at all. Because there's just not much to them. They exist solely to be a super boss. They don't imply anything in the narrative. They aren't a cool extension of a boss you've already done. They don't have their own individual stories to them. While I can see this guy having his own individual story, I could see him being a remnant of something from the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross times. We don't know anything about that yet. And Ice Titan is obviously just the Ice Titan. And Julius is just Julius. Like, none of these, at least the only one who has like potential to mean something is this one. And that's because he's a Heartless. And you know, Heartless typically means something. But these two, and especially, I mean, Kurt Ziza is cool. I think I'm going to put Kurt Ziza higher. Just because I like that he came from like a video game name contest. Like, your name got put in the video game. I think that's cool. That entire boss was named after somebody. That's really it. And also, I guess, because I'll admit, I never played 358. I only watched Let's Plays of it, so I don't even remember the super boss's name. But then again, I don't remember this super boss's name either. So, but basically, I've never played this one, so technically it has to automatically be at the bottom. And if I'm cheating like that, even then, let's say, because I'm going to cheat later, I think it wasn't that interesting to watch either. So, it doesn't earn much praise for me. Honestly, I know this fight has like some of the stupidest mechanics ever, and if you run out of ethers and elixirs, then you're just done. But the design of the Phantom is just so cool to me. And we never figured out who this was. Like, never. I wondered who this was supposed to be, because this was an emblem Heartless, I'm pretty sure. This isn't a natural one. So I wonder whose Heartless this was, because I always jokingly assume, whenever I talk with any of my friends about Kingdom Hearts, oh, all those big boss Heartless that we're slaying, like the Phantom, or the one in Beast Castle in Kingdom Hearts 2, I always assume those are like organization members, but I have no idea who the Phantom is supposed to be. Are there any ghostly-like characters in Kingdom Hearts that I'm just not remembering at this moment? But really, it's just for its design. I think it's a very unique fight premise. Do I believe it could have been done better? Yeah, that's why it's a nice and not really getting any higher, because it doesn't do enough for me personally. It just doesn't hit that proper niche for me. What is this? I really don't even remember what this is. What in the world is that? Is that Ericus? Hold on, let me scan. Scanning. Well, if that ain't Ericus, I'm gonna make it Ericus. And just simply... Oh no, that is Ericus. Yeah, that's definitely Ericus. I think that fight's amazing, if only for the fact that you're fighting Ericus. Like, you're seeing your master at what reasonably would be... It's in the Mirage Arena, obviously, but it's a variation of his prime. He's wielding all the powers that you have because he taught you all of them. It's such a cool fight concept-wise, and I think it's fair enough, balance-wise, that I actually legitimately enjoy. And I don't mind going back to that fight. I think Birth by Sleep has a very, like, jank combat system, as in either you're sucking in it or you're dominating it, with one exception. But I think the Master Ericus fight definitely works with that one. I like it a lot. I think it's amazing. Let's see. Let's just address... I think it's a nice boss fight. I like Darkhide's design. Once again, the reason it sneaks out of good is because I think its design is super duper interesting. And it's a Pureblood Heartless, and, like, that's rare. I'm pretty sure it's a Pureblood Heartless. Yeah, that's a Pureblood Heartless, because that's back before the other type of Heartless were even made. The Emblem Heartless didn't even exist at that point. So Darkhide has such a cool design, and I think the boss fight, even though like the invisible stuff is stupid, I think it's very, very cool. Does it have much story relevance? No, it's just something that Aqua fights at the end of her journey, which is fine enough. And that's the thing, it lacks any real story relevance, and while its design is cool, it's not Phantom cool. So I can't praise it that much, but that's really it. Moving on to, let's see, who do I want to talk about next? Ooh, I also think this fight's amazing, just because, once again, it's Xehanort. And while I think the design for, honestly, both the Masters is a little bit weird. I don't know, something about Xehanort's, like, weird. He's here, at least in Kingdom Hearts 2, when Xemnas was wielding the Keyblade armor, which is such a cool callback. I'm so happy that was the callback to it, that this is technically Master Xehanort's armor, and Xemnas, due to being part Xehanort, was able to summon it. I think it looked better when he had like the whole flowing cape behind him, and he didn't have this big puffed up top part and then just regular pants at the bottom, or what in comparison to the rest of him is just regular pants at the bottom. That's my only issue. But other than that, I think the boss is cool enough. I think the arena is very cool for it. Overall, I think it works well in Birth by Sleep's combat system, even though you kind of dominate it when you have the right moveset. I don't know. I think it's very, very good. Speaking of, yeah, I think Birth by Sleep has some amazing Superbosses. I'm not even gonna lie. Vanitas Remnant. It's dummy hard, like stupid hard. He literally steals your heals, the tricky one. But I actually really, really enjoy it. I don't know. There's something. I think it tickles my inner masochist, because I'm like, yes, please. This is so much. I don't know. As angry as I get throwing myself up against like what seems like an immeasurable wall, or like an unmovable wall, the amount of satisfaction I get after finally defeating it is like, I like lose my mind. I'm so happy whenever I defeat. I have no idea what that was. I'm so sorry if you have headphones in. But man, I don't know. Vanitas Remnant was so much fun, because it was literally me constantly just headbanging against a brick wall until my head became solid enough and just slammed straight through the brick wall. That was such a satisfying fight. And I also really like its design, as like literally Vanitas' Remnant, drained of all color, drained of all existence, and is literally just an unversed entity that happens to have Vanitas' remnants. resemblance, has a resemblance of Vanitas. I have no idea where my English went there. Let's get these recoded bosses out of the way. They're just super bosses of Riku, and where is he? I know I saw him. There it is, Roxas. I think they're great, if only for the fact that what they imply. Like, these are two corrupt beings living in the code of Jiminy's journal, as stupid as that sounds. And now it's your job as the protector of the journal, as the overseer of it currently, alongside Data Riku, to erase them. Concept enough carries, as y'all know, lore and concept carries heavy for me. If something has a good backstory, I'll be way less harsh on it. So I think even though the fact that it is reskin fights that have like a black model and a few screens flying around them, I think the concepts are cool enough, and I especially like that it's Riku and Roxas, because they are technically, while they're allies to Sora in the sense that one of them literally is half of Sora and the other is his best friend of many years, they still have opposed Sora, and seeing them in this corrupt, almost inhumane, well, really inhumane version of them that both want to fight and destroy Sora. Whew, that's pretty good. That's pretty darn good. Actually, dare I say, it's pretty darn great. Haha, okay. Moving on to, honestly, I know this fight especially isn't that fun for like Kingdom Hearts 1 mechanics, especially specifically in combat. However, the unknown figure in Kingdom Hearts 1, wow, I don't know, I just like this fight so much because once again, it comes down to lore. Like, Xemnas knew about Sora. He also wanted to test the Keyblade wielder, because he also had his own Keyblade wielder who was technically also Sora. So he just, like, you can tell Xemnas really isn't going all out. Sure, he's in super boss mode, but he's not manipulating nothingness to like the same degree. He's just throwing up he's really just testing you. And the idea that he would do that is very, very interesting. And the idea that we don't, like, I know this fight technically isn't canon because Sora never remembers it, but I almost like to believe that Xemnas wanted it that way. That he, like, understood that Sora could be a reasonable threat, but he also wanted to test if the threat outweighed the possible benefits, and thus he went back and fought him when he was in a weaker state. And I don't mean go back like, ooh, but actually I wouldn't mind if this fight happened due to time travel, and just the reason Sora doesn't remember it is because since Xemnas had to time travel away, it like it reset the timeline in a sense. I don't know. I really, really like the fight. Obviously, it's Xemnas. Xemnas is one of my favorite characters. He has one of my favorite movesets. I think, despite how weird and jank it is to you to fight Xemnas in the Kingdom Hearts 1's combat mechanics, I think it's cool enough. I like what it does for the lore, all that. Very, very, very good. It's the peak. It's the peak for me. Actually, it's nice. Like a lot of these lesser organization members that I just didn't like fighting in the original versions of them, I'm not going to like fighting them that much when they're data versions. But they're still nice enough. Like they're juiced up super bosses. Like I don't mind it. You won't catch. I really, really like Marluxia's fight, if only for the fact that it made me think. Like, as long, really, in every other fight, as long as you have Cure and you're able to dodge around quick enough, you're fine. But you got a limited amount of hits. You actually have to think when fighting. You have to think to a higher degree, really, because honestly, in critical mode, it doesn't really matter how much health you have, as I've learned the hard way multiple times against certain super bosses, against certain regular bosses in critical mode. But even still, Marluxia adds that extra complex layer of thinking on top of it. He makes you a 5-course meal and surprisingly adds a 6-course. Like, there's out of nowhere, you thought you filled the plate and then suddenly finished the final plate and he hands you another one like, but there's still more. And you just have to eat it. And that's fine with me. And it's pretty much the same case with this Kingdom Hearts 3 incarnation of a super boss. It's just that extra level of thought on top of it. But do I like it more than any of the other 3? No, I'll admit, all the data bosses, despite how cool they are, like implying that the organization kept up backup data drives of themselves just in case any of them fell and needed to be replaced, I think that's cool in concept, but it never goes anywhere within the main narrative. They're literally just super bosses. And while it's cool, and I like the characters that became super bosses, doesn't do much for me. But in terms of boss content himself, I obviously love the fight against Roxas. I like the fight against Roxas, especially in Kingdom Hearts 2 fighting mechanics and as much as I wish you could like go all out against Roxas, like you could have Sora, Donald, and Goofy just to absorb them and use final form against Roxas, like the one dual wielding Keyblade master, well not master, the one dual wielding Keyblade wielder against the other dual wielding Keyblade wielder, but you can tell which one's more powerful because one's wielding it with their minds. That would be so cool. But I also like the 1v1 dynamic. That's literally two halves fighting for supremacy, but this time it's more so for fun. Like, once again, massive headcanon, but I feel like Roxas is kind of just chilling inside Sora, and he's like, "Oh, you want to fight me again? I bet, let's do it." And I feel like, to some stupid degree, like I said, massive headcanon, I feel like Roxas is really down to fight himself for some reason. Since he's a conscious part of Sora by the time you get to the Garden of Assemblage, I feel like he's there, kind of rooting Sora on and saying, "Wait, dodge that!" And I don't know, it's weird, and I love the fight itself, and I like the hypothetical lore behind it. That's really it. Now, this is once again, sort of my inner masochist kicks in. I don't know. Something about Larxene going crazy, stupid, is just fun for me. I don't know. That's really it. I think her fight's fun, especially in Kingdom Hearts 2 when I have access to final form against her. I can just go stupid. Like, actually, basically, even on critical mode, the one thing I love about Larxene's fight is if you try to slap back hard enough, you can. Like, it's a weird way to put it, but Larxene is one of the few fights within Kingdom Hearts where I'm like, oh no, I can be aggressive, and I'm going to be aggressive. So I just become aggressive, 100%. Like, one sec. Larxene is the very definition of keep that same energy, and against Larxene, in a heartbeat, I'll keep that same energy at all time. In both, like. Even in Kingdom Hearts 3, while it is much more difficult to clap back violently against Larxene, especially since you're alone, I still have so much fun just literally just slamming my forehead into my controller and just being like, attack! And I don't know, Larxene's so much fun for that. I think Axel's fight is great. I don't like Axel's fight. Mainly because the constant burning ground, like, while it adds another layer, it literally is just make sure you have cure, make sure you have drive bars, and that's it. Like, it's not with Marluxia where if I play my cards right and I guard well enough and I start reading his movements and attack patterns. No. Like, Larxene, I consciously made the decision to be turned into an absolute just force of nature and attack her with all my might, no matter what's going on. Axel, he sort of just forced me into doing that. Like, that's like the most effective way to beat Axel. You can't wait Axel out. I mean, sure, you can. You have to wait for the fire clear command, but it's always going to come back. It's going to come back even quicker because it's a date of boss fight. I don't know. I mean, it's still great. I still think the arena's cool. I still think the fight is cool. It's just that fire floor, it really messes me up. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Let's see. This is once again one of those weird fights. Nah, but I'll put it at the bottom because Lexus. It's one of those weird fights where, like, it actually just legitimately encourages you to go stupid. Like, literally just forget that you're playing a video game, hop into Sora's shoes yourself, transform into final form, and lunge at him with every last bit of your biological might. And it is so much fun. Like, the power level stake, it's hilarious to me because, you know, power levels in general. And just fighting Lexius full on, like, with literally no holds bars, you're just going in, is hilarious to me, and I love doing it every single time. It's one of my favorite fights. But due to lack of lore purposes or any interesting headcanons that can come behind it, it falls beneath a lot of other bosses. Demyx. Yo, Demyx, why do you go at the bottom of good? Nah, it's okay. It's nice. I don't... Of course, the 99 water clones at the end is annoying, but considering I'm not a real one like Sunbro and Albino, and I do use drive forms, I just go into wisdom form or final form and light that entire place on fire. So I'm chilling. It's just This is a little bit annoying. Like, Demex's invincibility phases are what really just tire me out about that fight. Like, I think it's a very big gimmick, and that's okay. It's nice enough, and I like Demex as a character, so I'll let it slide. I think Riku Replica, not Riku Replica, Dark Seeker Riku, or whatever, I think he goes a little bit too crazy. I think he goes a little bit too stupid, but I don't mind it. Like, he will not hop off your back, but I think that's fine, because I don't mind it. And that's really it. There's no other reason than I don't mind being pushed to my limit. Do I think it's a little bit unfair at times? Yes. However, in my heart of hearts, I'm like, man, I really don't care. Let's go at it. And I do. That's the thing. I don't mind it. And there's really not much to talk about with that fight. Why did I keep you down here as if you're anything special? Get out of here. I actually really, really like it. I like it even more than Lexius's fight. Because, like, you'll see, the fights that I like a lot are the fights that sounds sad. The fights where I think less and I'm able to just while out. I'm like, yes, these are the fights I enjoy, because it feels like a real contest against Saix and Lexius in particular. Like a true contest of strength comes from the ideas that yes, you're facing an equal and you can go dummy against this equal. Like when I fight Larxene, the reason she's above the rest of these is because when I fight Larxene, I'm not facing an equal. I'm facing a very speedy superior, but I can act like I'm facing an equal. I can go dummy if the need requires it. I can lose my mind if I truly want to. But against these, I kind of just have to lose my mind. And I do love it. And I said the same thing in Kingdom Hearts 3 because I still have access to Ultimate Form. But other than that, yeah, that's fine. I love the fight. Anthem Seeker of Darkness, he's great. I don't know. I actually prefer his fight in 3D against Riku. I don't know. There's not much for me to talk about here. Both of these. Hop right up in there, Chief. Come on now. These are my hop, skip, and jive. I like both of these fights a lot. I wish we had one in Kingdom Hearts 3, but of course you can have one in Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 1, it was literally a war of attrition. It's the hardest boss in the game. Hands down, even harder than the unknown figure. Makes me lose my mind every single time, but I love every single second of it. It is such a high-octane, high-intensity fight that I just love it. Kingdom Hearts 2, even on critical mode, and I'm recently replayed through Kingdom Hearts 2 on critical mode, and I also want to do a let's play of it for no good reason other than the fact that I want to like actually record my reactions to some of the bosses and some of the narrative. But other than that, I recently fought him again in Kingdom Hearts 2 on critical mode. And wow, I don't know, that fight was fun. Mainly because he's unlocked super early in the game. So I went to fight him super early in the game, and he just absolutely kept thrashing me. But when I came back and beat him, it was so satisfying. I love both Sephiroth bosses. I think Phantom Aqua's fine. That's really it. I think he's great enough, because I like the mirror dynamic, but other than that, fine. He's kind of just a dumb berserker. He's sort of a Lexius, but he's not as fun to fight as Lexius. Which is sad, because I really was hoping that we could get a weird mix of both Terra and Xehanort. But you don't really get that until this guy. But we'll come back to this guy. I don't know. I love fighting this guy. For no real reason. I think he incorporates his power set very well into the Super Boss, so I think that's great. Yozora, as much as I don't like Yozora as a character, I like his boss fight a lot because it is so unique. Do I have fun doing it? Not entirely, I'll admit to you. But I don't know. Once again, it's the inner masochist coming out, and obviously the lore potential behind him, as much as I don't like it, is absolutely insane. Like, it's dummy. Quadratum, it's wild, bro. Xion? I just love fighting Xion because once again it comes down to the idea that Xion is the culmination of everything Sora's ever done, and it's sort of it's all clapping back against Sora in the most violent way possible. I think that's so cool, and I love it that this is like the real boss fight. We didn't even really get a glimpse of fighting Xion in the real game, but this is what it would have been, and this is kind of terrifying. It's time to reload. I love this fight. I love this fight because it lets me grind defense ups to go fight the Lingering Will on critical mode. That's it. That's the only reason. And I like and I'll admit, it lost all its luster. These two are in such a different places in like by Kingdom Hearts 3, mainly because I feel like I feel cheated now that I know the truth about Brig slash Zigbar. I don't know why I lost Zigbar's name. Brig slash Zigbar slash Lushu. I feel cheated. Like, bro, you're holding back. Don't hold back. Snap against me, bro. I know I have to wait till Kingdom Hearts 4, but snap against me, bro. Come on now. Treat me with some respect, gosh darn it. But in Kingdom Hearts 2, where I don't know that, and I use him, I use him as my fodder to grow stronger. I love it. Master Xehanort, I don't know. I just love the fight, mainly because of the Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts and all his powers. So cool. Vexen, he's nice enough. I like the clone dynamic. As annoying as it is, I think it's still fun enough. Yeah, all these are amazing, but they're at the bottom of amazing. Mainly because Xemnas, I don't know, I feel like Xemnas is due to him being final boss status already, he loses a lot of the luster when he becomes a super boss. It's like, it's just because they couldn't really change much. They couldn't really add much. He was so close to endgame already that you just gotta juice up his damage, you gotta increase his health bars. There's nothing much you can do, but I already like those original fights a lot. That's why they're still amazing to me. It's just that they didn't add much from the super boss dynamic. Yo, Vanitas goes dummy. I don't know why. He loses his mind, and I find it hilarious, and I also love fighting him for some reason. That's definitely the peak. Zoldan! You know, for some reason, when he becomes a super boss, I enjoy him like 20 times more than in the story. But I think that's just because I have access to like unbelievable, unrestricted power against him by the time I have final form. So I think that's why Zoldan's amazing. When you're fighting him, what truly feels like on equal grounds, that's when you can truly just lose your mind against Zoldan and have a great time. Once I say, yo, I warned y'all, my inner masochist is peeking out again. Because, obviously, favorite secret boss in the series is Lingering Will. The way that fight tests you. Wow. Even on normal mode, the way that fight tests you. Man, that's a great fight. I plan to make a video talking about just the Lingering Will as a fight, as the lore, as everything. And same thing with the unknown figure. It is really just baby Xehanort. But the way, and he really is, he epitomizes all the problems with Birth by Sleep's fighting system. I don't care. I love that fight, mainly just because of how hard it is and how high tension it is, especially on the hardest difficulty. But there you go. That's my ranking, and dare I say, in order. I'll admit, I'll put Vanitas Remnant above, and I'll even put Lark Seed and Kingdom Hearts 2 above, but that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.